diamond grill marks on a flat top griddle. In today's episode, I'm going to show you how to get those beautiful sear marks. And as a bonus, today we're going to season and prep our ribeye steak that Grand Champion Pitmasters are using to win competitions. Now, the reason why you clicked on this video is you want to know how to get diamond sear marks on a steak using a flat top griddle, and the answer is grill grates. How grill grates actually work is it takes the surface level heat and it puts it all up into these aluminum ridges up here, and these aluminum ridges will get about 100 degrees hotter than what the surface level is.
Oh, that's hot.
And the awesome thing about grill grates is they have custom shapes and sizes pretty much for every grill out there. I will leave a link. If you want awesome looking sear marks, these are definitely worth checking out. It is going to take about 20 to 30 minutes to prep and season our steak. So that's going to give enough time for this to heat up. Now, this is the Pit Boss 5-burner Ultimate, and these burners get crazy hot. So for these three, I'm going to turn them all the way on high. And then for this side, I'm going to turn the burners pretty much all the way to low. After we're done searing our steak, this is going to be the warming side. It is going to be a hot one today. That is why we're going to go inside and prep the steak. So let's do it now. So I have my choice grade ribeye steak. The flavor that we're going to get from this today is going to be next level. This is seriously the best steak recipe I've ever tried to date, so I am happy to share that with you. As far as what we're going to need for the first part to do our marinade, we're going to need a 1-gallon Ziploc bag. We are going to need a can of beef consomme. Now for the marinade, I am going to be using Ace's Wild, and this you do about 2 tablespoons to 1 can of beef consomme. You mix it together. It is super simple, and that is going to help us get a very tender and delicious steak. Now, to also help with the tenderizing process, I went down to Walmart. In the hair section, you have these little metal prongs. It is a hair product, but it is awesome for stabbing your ribeye, and that is going to help the consomme and the tenderizer get in to the center of the ribeye and make it really nice and tender. So let's get started. Here is our ribeye right here. And I do look for ribeyes that do have a lot of intermuscular fat. To me, the fat is the flavor. Now it's time to get stabby. So I'm basically going to come in here and literally just start stabbing the ribeye and then going through the sides as well. All right, she is all stabbed up. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a can of our beef consomme. I'm going to put it into our bag. Now I'm going to take our Ace's Wild and then put in 2 tablespoons. Give it a little shake, press it around. That's going to help the seasoning get all up in that consomme. Now I'm going to take my timer out. So I have the timer set for 11 minutes. So now I'm going to take our ribeye and we're going to place it down. And now I'm going to start the timer and we'll tune back in when it's time to flip it. Epic transition. All right, the timer went off. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take our steak and flip it over. And another 11 minutes on the timer. And after that, it's seasoning time.
11 minutes later.
Now it's time to get this steak out and pat it dry. Now for seasoning, we are going to be doing this in layers. So it's not just going to be one seasoning. It's actually going to be a few. So the first base, what we're going to do, we are going to do Boar's Night Out. This is their spicy white lightning. So I'm going to come in here and we are going to season it up. And I'm going to pat it into the steak. We're going to flip it. Again, pat into the steak. And you do want to lift up and make sure you get the sides. All right, next up are seasonings from Prime Time. One is Bovine Shine, the other is Unicorn All-Purpose. And we're going to be adding these into a 2-to-1 ratio. So I have this already pre-mixed. It's going to be 2 parts bovine chine to 1 part of the unicorn all-purpose. This is going to help achieve even additional flavor, and it's really going to give some nice color to it as well. You know, sometimes when you're tasting a steak and you're like, man, it's delicious, but it feels like it's missing just one thing. Telling you, there's so many flavors going on here. It checks off all those boxes. It is so, so good. And that's it for seasoning it before it hits the grill. And then after it's done resting, we are going to do a light dusting of primetime cow glitter. And this just adds that last bit of umami flavor and just brings the whole experience through the roof. Next level stuff. Let's get this steak onto the grill. It does help having a few tools. The first is a burger press, and this I'm going to be using as a steak weight. I did wrap it in aluminum foil. When it's time to clean this, all I have to do is throw away the aluminum foil. The next is a temp reader, and this is going to let us know how hot the actual grate level is and then how warm our warmer side is. This is a meat thermometer, and this is going to help us make sure we get a perfect medium rare steak. And then lastly, when you do get the grill grates, it comes with a spatula that fits in between the channels so you can actually lift your steak up. All right, let's get that steak on the grill. For this side, I'm actually going to now kill these burners at the tip of these grates. It's about 500 degrees right now, and so that's going to help us achieve a very, very nice sear mark. Now, as far as how long, it's going to be 30 seconds with the steak weight on. Then I'm going to take the steak weight off and do another 30 seconds. We're going to then reposition it. So it's going to be about 2 minutes per side before we pull it off and then put it on the warm side. And the reason why we're putting it here, we're done building the sear marks, and we just want the internal temperature to raise to about 125. And then by the time we let it cool down and rest, that is going to bring it up to that perfect medium rare. All right, so we have the steak here, and I'm going to make it face this corner and just lay it down. I'm going to get our steak weight here, press it on, and I have a little timer that I like to keep on the side, and that is going to help us give a running time so we don't have to do the 30 seconds in our head. We can just glance down at the timer. Okay, steak weight is off. And then another 30 seconds. I got my grill grates spatula ready. All right, it's been a minute. So now we're going to pull this up just like this. And now we are going to turn and then place it down this way. Steak weight on. All right, steak weight off. Now you might be asking, Grill Sergeant, why don't you just leave the steak weight on the whole time? As it's actually searing, the steak itself is shrinking. So if you leave the steak weight on the whole time, the nice lines you're gonna get are actually gonna start to shift. So by lifting it up at the halfway point, it avoids getting the wavy lines. Okay, we are going to lift and pull. Now let's check that out. Look at that. Is that beautiful or what? So now we're going to face it in this way. Steak weight down. Okay, steak weight off. All right, we are going to lift it up. Steak weight on. Okay, steak weight off. Perfect. So now we're about 350 on this side. So now we're going to pull this off. Now let's check that out. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So now what we're going to do is we're going to set it on this side. And now let's get a temperature reading just to see where we're at. So right now we're about 110. So again, it's not going to be that long, but we are getting there close. So while that's doing that, I'm going to get a tray to the side right here. So we're going to tune back in when this is ready to pull. Now we do have to let it rest for about 10 minutes. That is going to help finish off the cook, and I'm gonna throw some butter right on top. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna lay down some rosemary I just picked from the garden. We're going to, and pretty much right when the butter is done completely melting over this steak, she's gonna be ready. We're gonna bring her in, carve in. Oh, it's gonna be good. All right, so last thing we're gonna do before we carve in, we're gonna hit it up with the cow glitter. Love the name. And this is a very light dusting. Just like that. And without further ado, we get to carve in right now. Look at that. Yes, sir. Let's carve this up. And now my favorite part, the taste test. Here we go. Unreal. This is hands down best steak I've ever had. So I will leave a link to all the seasonings, rubs, all that stuff down in the description. Let me know if you're going to give this a try, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Grill Sergeant out. Mm-mm-mm. 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 Mm-mm-mm.